Ambassador Zethkar's tentacles writhed nervously as he entered the council chamber of the Galactic Federation. The emergency session had been called after yet another incident involving the species known as humans, a relatively new addition to the galactic community that had somehow managed to turn every diplomatic encounter into a legendary tale of impossible odds and inexplicable victories. The Vorthan representative, a crystalline being whose form shimmered with anxiety, spoke first. "We cannot continue to ignore this pattern. Every time one of our member species has attempted to intimidate or subjugate the humans, the results have been catastrophic for us." Zethkar's datapad flickered as he reviewed the latest report. The Krellian Empire, known throughout the galaxy for their ruthless efficiency and overwhelming military might, had attempted to annex human colony world New Geneva 3 cycles ago. What should have been a routine subjugation had turned into the Krellians' first military defeat in over 2 millennia. The humans hadn't just repelled the invasion, they had somehow convinced half the Krellian fleet to defect and join their cause. "The humans possess no superior technology," rumbled General Vorthak, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "Their ships are cobbled together from salvaged parts. Their weapons are primitive. Their armor is barely adequate. Yet somehow they consistently achieve the impossible." The ethereal collective's representative, a floating consciousness of pure energy, pulsed with confusion. "We have studied their biology extensively. They are fragile. Their lifespans are brief. They require constant sustenance and rest. By every logical metric, they should be among the weakest species in the galaxy." Zethkar had spent years studying humanity, and he believed he understood something his colleagues missed. "It is not their individual capabilities that make them formidable," he began, his voice carrying the weight of hard-earned wisdom. "It is their collective psychology. When faced with extinction, they do not simply fight, they transform." The Yoayo chamber fell silent as Zethkar continued. "Consider the siege of Proxima Station. The hegemony surrounded the human outpost with a fleet of 600 warships. The humans had 12 functional fighters and a space station held together with determination and recycled hull plating. Standard military doctrine suggests immediate surrender. Instead, the humans did something unprecedented. They turned their mining station into a weapon. The memory crystals projected holographic displays of the battle. The assembled delegates watched in stunned silence as human engineers, working without sleep for 4 straight days, had converted their asteroid mining equipment into the largest kinetic bombardment system ever conceived. They had literally hurled chunks of space rock at relativistic speeds, turning their entire star system into an artillery platform. The hegemony retreated after losing 2/3 of their fleet, Zethkar noted. But that is not the most remarkable part of this story. The humans could have pursued and eliminated the survivors. Instead, they offered medical aid and safe passage home. They turned their greatest military victory into a humanitarian mission. Council member Thesera, her scales rippling with uncertainty, interjected. "This makes them more dangerous, not less. A species that combines ruthless tactical brilliance with incomprehensible mercy is unpredictable." "Exactly," Zethkar agreed. "But there is more. Observe their response to the plague of Zerion Prime." The displays shifted to show human medical teams working in hazardous conditions on a quarantined world. When the bioweapon began consuming organic matter on 7 different planets, every civilized species evacuated and cordoned off the affected systems. The humans were the only ones who flew directly into the plague zones. The assembled delegates watched human doctors, scientists, and volunteers working alongside dying alien populations they had never encountered before, sharing the same air, the same risks, the same fate. The humans had not only developed a cure within weeks, they had distributed it freely to every affected species, asking for nothing in return. "They possess something we have lost in our millions of years of civilization," Zethkar observed. "They still believe in impossible things. When we see an insurmountable obstacle, we calculate the odds and retreat. When they see the same obstacle, they ask themselves, what if we're wrong about impossible?" The Quantum Collective's spokesperson, existing in 17 dimensions simultaneously, resonated with confusion. but surely their recklessness should have led to their extinction long ago. That is what we fail to understand, Zethkari replied. Their recklessness is not random, it is strategic. They take calculated risks that no other species would consider because they have learned to embrace uncertainty as a tactical advantage. When you cannot predict your own actions, your enemies cannot predict them either. He gestured to another data stream. The Draconian Commerce Guild attempted to economically blockade human space, believing they could force favorable trade agreements. The humans responded by developing closed-loop manufacturing systems and giving the technology away to every developing species in 3 sectors. They turned an attempted economic stranglehold into the foundation for a new economic alliance. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as the implications became clear. Every time we attempt to apply conventional wisdom against humanity, they rewrite the rules entirely, Zethkar concluded. They do not simply adapt to challenges, they transform challenges into opportunities. They turn weaknesses into strengths, enemies into allies, and defeats into victories. General Vorthak's armor plates shifted uneasily. Then what do you recommend? Zethkar's tentacles stilled, and his voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. We treat them as partners, not subjects. We offer friendship, not dominance. Because in a galaxy full of species that have learned to calculate the odds, the humans are the only ones who consistently prove that the odds don't matter. The council chamber erupted in debate, but Zethkar had already made his decision. Tomorrow, he would travel to Earth not as a superior addressing an inferior species, but as an ambassador seeking alliance with the most dangerous force in the galaxy, a species that refused to accept the impossible. After all, there was a reason why, after decades of human presence in galactic affairs, not a single species had successfully conquered, subjugated, or eliminated them. The humans had taught the galaxy's greatest lesson: never underestimate a species that dreams of impossible things, and then makes them real.